In our first video, I went over how to add a theme to your WordPress site as well as how to add plugins. Now we're going to go into how to activate those and make them part of our workflow. So I'm logged into my utopiaplanitia.designworkbench.com starter site here that I'm using to show you some of the parts of WordPress. And if I go to Appearance, I can go to Themes, and you'll notice I've activated Utopia Planitia. You can activate a theme at any time and switch the look and feel of your website, but we're going to stick with Utopia Planitia for our testing here. This assumes that you've already uploaded the theme and got it up and running. If not, check one of the other videos, I believe the first video in this series, that talks about how to add the Utopia Planitia plugin or theme to your website and how to add plugins as well. So we have Utopia Planitia activated. That is the theme here under Appearance. I'm going to go to Plugins now and activate some plugins that are important for Utopia Planitia. You'll see I have a bunch of plugins here. And in our first video, I showed how to find plugins, how to install plugins. We're going to activate some key plugins here. I'm going to talk specifically about Advanced Custom Fields, which is required for Utopia Planitia. So Advanced Custom Fields Pro is a plugin that extends your site's functionality. Many of the plugins I have built for Utopia Planitia require advanced custom fields. If we work together in class, then you likely have already got Utopia Planitia up and running, and you've installed Advanced Custom Fields Pro. We are using Advanced Custom Fields Pro as part of our course for getting these sites going. So though it's a paid plugin, we've already made arrangements to get your site up and running using that license that we're sharing as we develop these sites off of our main platform, off of Utopia Planitia. If you do not have an Advanced Custom Fields Pro license and we have not worked together in class, then you will need to purchase the plugin. The plugin is totally worth it. And again, it makes Utopia Planitia work, so it is required. There is a subscription fee. As an individual, I think it's about $40 or $50 these days for an entire year, and it is well worth it. You can get that plugin from WP Engine. Just look up Advanced Custom Fields Pro. It is crucial. So a few other plugins I highly recommend for your site. One of them is Nested Pages, and you'll see I already have that one activated. Nested Pages turns our pages view into a much cleaner view where you can telescope and drag files around in order. Popping over to plugins, EWWW Image Optimizer is another plugin you'll need to add. This is not a plugin I created, and you can get it in the directory. So if we go to Add Plugin, and then you can search for EWWW, you'll see EWWW Image Optimizer. You can activate that or install and activate it here. I'm going to activate it, and you'll see it just turned on. EWWW Image Optimizer, that's a long name, will compress images when you upload them to your site and make them their fastest and most compressed format for a faster running site. So great plugin for performance that is easy to use. Over here in my site, I have a bunch of other plugins. One of them is WordFence Security. I'm going to activate that one. You will have to get a license for WordFence Security. It is a plugin that will harden your website and reduce the likelihood of a security breach or being hacked. I find it's an essential plugin that I highly recommend early on. W3 Total Cache is another one of those that's a crucial plugin, but don't activate it from the beginning. W3 Total Cache and any caching plugin caches your website and serves up pages faster, but it means that users, when they visit your site, are going to have a cache or have a version of your website stored locally, so it loads fast. But it means when you make changes to your website, they may not see those changes unless they do a hard refresh or they clear their cache. So it's great to install, but don't turn it on until you're absolutely done with the website. Others, I think those are the other outside ones that I did not make. We'll leave that one off. Now you'll see these other plugins like portfolio settings, site custom blocks, site custom fields, some of these others that are by Dennis Cheatham. These plugins are important for you to use with the Utopia Planitia because it extends a lot of its functionality to make it a true portfolio website platform. If you have taken a course with me and know where those files are, then you've already found out where to download each of these plugins, and installing them is something I covered in a previous video. When you download them, leave them as a zip file. Make sure you don't have a duplicate. If you have downloaded the file and then downloaded another version and it has a 1 at the end of the file name on your computer, then it can get really confusing locally on your computer on which one is the current one. My best recommendation, when you download the plugins from where I'm sharing them, make sure you delete them after you upload them. So if you download a fresh one and you need to update on your website, you know you're using the freshest version. So let's activate these now. They're already installed. I'm just going to activate them down. In fact, I'm going to use bulk actions to where I can select social media content, site custom fields, blocks, settings. I want all these in enhanced scholarship, and I can do activate and I can apply that. So I selected them first. I went up here to the bulk and did activate, and then I said apply. Now they're all on except for total cache, which is good. Now I can use my plugins on my website because they've been activated. If you ever run into a spot where things aren't working quite right, just make sure the plugins are activated and you have all the ones you need and you have the freshest versions. That will make sure Utopia Planitia is working best for you. Okay, so we've got all our plugins activated. We've gone into appearance and we have also activated Utopia Planitia. We have a few options on this left side. Let's look at those new menu options and what they do. First, portfolio settings. Here under portfolio settings, the About tab allows you to add your pronouns if you prefer that. Your availability if you want to use it. You don't have to use these. To integrate a full bio that will show up in your About Me page, a headshot, as well as a nav logo. This nav logo will add a logo in your nav if you want to use it. Just read the instructions carefully. You have to add a CSS class to the menu item. We'll get into menus in a second. Also, typography is an option, and you can add Adobe fonts to your website. Follow the instructions with Adobe fonts on how to do this and what information you need. But once you go through that process, then follow the instructions in this section and you can get Adobe fonts running on your website. You'll have to create a project ID and then add some CSS here, which I have some quick instructions on how to do it. Portfolio presence allows you to add additional links to your profile. Skills allows you to add skills to your About Me profile. Contact and visibility also add some options. These are portfolio specific options that I've designed to support you showing off your work and showcasing the way you think and work on this portfolio. Again, this requires advanced custom fields, and a lot of this special stuff are things that are tied in through that plugin that are great. Whenever you make a change to these to this content, make sure you just click update to make sure it's active. So that's portfolio settings. There's a global styles option that you will not need to use with advanced custom fields. WordFence has its own settings as well. Those are the only new things on the left when you install all the plugins that we require for Utopia Planitia. Okay, so we've got all of that stuff set up. We've done some portfolio settings. Let's get into appearance and look at menus. Appearance is where you're going to set up the look and feel of your website, especially setting up menu options. Over in appearance, I will zip down to menus. And in menus, yours likely is empty right now, but I've got mine filled with lots of different options. Here's how you create a menu. Your first step is going to be actually to create the menu. I will do it right now as a practice run. So we'll create a menu. I find like if this is the main one, I'll do main menu. You can call this whatever you want, and you can tell it where you want to display. Main menu is going to show up at the top of your website and in your mobile interface. Utility bar menu is a special menu that Utopia Planitia only uses for multi-site websites. So likely you're not going to need to use this option. So don't worry about utility bar menu. But if you're using a special multi-site version, then you'll see that a black bar at the top or a dark bar that has some special options. Again, just for if you're doing a special version. The user menu is also a menu area you will not need for Utopia Planitia because that's for websites that have users that are registering. However, the footer menu is a really helpful one. That's where you can put a menu at the bottom of your website with important things like about me and other stuff that's easy to get to that's typically in the footer of a website. So for this portfolio, you're really just going to need main menu and footer menu. So I'm going to select main menu. I called it main menu at top, whatever I want to call it. And then I can create it. Now that I've created the menu, I can add pages to it. You can add pages and all kinds of things to your menu. In this case, let's see, I want to add the minimal theme pages, and I want to add this portfolio item. Actually, no, I want to add minimal sub theme. Let me view all. Where's my about me page? I probably should add that. There it is. So I've got my about me page. I'm going to add this to my menu. Notice it appears over here on the right. Then I'm going to add the minimal sub theme. And I want my home page. I think I named it home. Let me look. Utopia Planitia home. Yep, I created a page and now I can add it. The important thing to remember here, you're not going to be able to add stuff to your menu until you create the actual pages. So create the pages first, then do your menuing. You don't have to have like full pages that have everything in them. Just create the page as a placeholder and get your menus up and running so then you can navigate your site. As I pop back over to this, I've got kind of things a little bit jumbled. I can organize my menu. Utopia Planitia home. I'm going to put this sub theme here. I'm going to have these two items be like sub menus. So they're like drop down sub menus and then about me. Make sure you save that menu. So now I've saved it and I've made it the main menu. So let's see what that looks like on the front end. And what I'm going to do really quickly here is show you what my full menu looks like that has all the stuff in it. So here's my menu that I've built with all of the items at the Utopia Planitia test website that you're probably using to see how this thing works. See all those items? I've got the sandbox. Actually, I want to call that home. I like that better. I put some special classes on these that style them. If you want to add special classes to menu items, you have to do a drop down and add CSS classes, turn that on or they won't show up. So notice that right there, turn on the CSS classes option under screen options to get those options to work. I'll scroll that back up. So there's my Utopia Planitia home, featured sub theme, all these other pages, nice and nested. I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to use the Utopia Planitia, your home, the name of your website, and click on Visit Site. You'll see this in this top left-hand corner. This will show me a view of the front end. All right, so my menu's not there. Let me refresh and see if it's not showing up. Huh, it's not. So now I need to diagnose what the deal is. And well, let's do that together because you may run into this situation with your website. To get back to the back end, you can go to Dashboard and view that dashboard. And I'm going to go to Menus. Let's see what's going on. Main menu. Oh, I see the problem. I have my main menu, but I haven't told it where to display. I want it to display in the main menu section. Just a reminder here, main menu's at the top and footer menu's at the bottom. I want that top menu spot. So I just selected main menu and pressed save. Now let's see what happened. Visit site. up here in the top left-hand corner. Much better. There's my menu. All those items in my menu are showing up. They're clickable, and I've got my settings menu that's built into the theme, as well as my search menu here, my search option. Cool. So if I want to go back to the site, I could go back here to dashboard and go straight to menus. Here in WordPress, to go back and forth from the front end to the back end is a very common step. You're going to work in the back end, and then you're going to switch to the front end and see it, and the back end again. This is a normal process of going back and forth that you're going to probably get really used to. My site keeps switching over to dark mode because of a key command that I'm using. So if I want to go back to that dashboard view, I can just go to Utopia Planitia dashboard, and notice that's a toggle. So I can go back and forth pretty easily. So I can go to menus, and I can change that menu, and it will make sure you hit save, and it will update on the front. You can also create custom links. So you can link any website or any web page, categories, special things. You can do that right here and add those as menu items. You can also rename a menu item, changing its name right here in the navigation label. So if your page name is one thing, but if you want the navigation, the menu to say something else, that's where you change it, is right there in navigation label. Okay, I feel pretty good about my menus. They look good. I'm going to leave the site. I don't need those changes. So I've got Utopia Planitia in. I've got items showing up because this is my practice site. Then I also have some menu items showing up. That looks good. That's a pretty good overview there of using, getting your plugins in, appearance up, and some of those other options that add customization to the Utopia Planitia platform for portfolio websites. Our next video is getting into actually creating a page or a post and getting content in. And then in another video, we'll get into styling the website and doing coloring. All right, and see you in the next video.